out to sea is a fib, but it's shortened. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Monday, 9:43 a.m. in the avocado boycott at Los Angeles, knee-deep in guacamole. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. The boss is Thad Green. My partner is George Franklin. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. Morning, George.
Morning, Kate.
What's new?
That's it.
It is?
Sure. New. Another word for wildebeest. Thanks, Kate.
Doing your crossword puzzle, George?
And that finished it up. I love puzzles, Kate.
I know you do, George. How was your weekend?
It's quiet.
Quiet?
We invited our neighbors, the Beasleys, over for Martha's meatloaf, and Mr. Beasley still isn't speaking to me.
So they didn't come?
Oh, they came, but Mr. Beasley just didn't speak to me.
Monday. Who? Do we have an appointment with a Bronco Guillermo Gomez? Ask him to come in, Sam.
Bronco? We've never had a horse in the office, Kate.
Howdy, I'm Bronco Guillermo Gomez.
Hello, Bronco. I'm Kate Monday. This is George.
Frankly, Mathnet. Well, pull up a cayuse and tell us what we can do for you.
Thanks, Mr. Franklin. I need you to help me find something.
Something you lost?
I didn't lose it.
Well, who did? Your little sister? Well, my little sister was always losing stuff of mine.
Salazar Capone lost it.
Saddle sore Capone?
Yes, ma'am. Only he didn't lose it.
Oh?
He hid it.
Maybe you better start at the beginning.
Or at least in the middle.
Well, in the beginning, Salazar Capone robbed a stagecoach.
The stagecoach?
I didn't see anything about that in the newspapers.
He did it in 1853, Mr. Franklin. He robbed a stagecoach of its gold, and then he hid it. No one's ever found it.
How much gold did he get?
15 pounds, Ms. Monday. It was worth about $3,600.
$3,600. That gold would be worth a lot more today. But in 1853, a dollar was worth a lot, too.
Let's see. Gold is worth about $500 an ounce today.
Actually, $496.75 on today's market.
Well, let's see. 15 pounds, 16 ounces in each pound.
Not when you're measuring gold, Mr. Franklin. Gold is measured in the troy system. That's 12 troy ounces to the pound.
Bronco's right, George.
Okay. 12 times 15 is...
10 times 15 is 150. And 2 more 15s is 30. So that's 180 ounces.
180 ounces at...
I'll race you, pard.
180 ounces at roughly $500 an ounce is about $90,000.
At precisely $496.75 an ounce, it is exactly $89,415.
$90,000 is close enough, Kate.
That's a lot of money.
That's true.
And I know where it is.
You do?
Sort of. See, I go camping up there with my folks. And this is a copy of the map I made.
Where did the original map come from?
It was found on Salazar Capone when he died.
You sure couldn't spell very well.
No, he couldn't. But anyway, the map's in the library, and I've been studying up on the subject a lot, and I copied it there.
This doesn't look like a treasure map to me. I mean, treasure maps always have an X where the treasure is buried. You know, X marks the spot.
And there's no X.
That's what everybody thought.
Everybody?
Everybody in the area knew the gold had been hidden and have looked for it for years and never found anything.
So what makes you think you found something, Bronco?
I kind of stumbled on it. Look what happens when you see the reflection in this thermos.
You know, it reflects. So what?
Watch what happens when I put it on the map right here.
I'll be doggone. Dig here. Oh, dig here.
Dig here. Amazing.
Uh-huh. Senator Capone used a cylindrical mirror to hide his message.
What an ingenious idea. Oh, for a crook, I mean.
So that means the treasure's probably buried there.
It's incredible. You say people have looked for this gold since...
1853.
And after all these years, Bronco Guillermo Gomez has finally figured it out. Congratulations, Bronco.
Thanks, Ms. Monday. But there's only one problem. And that's why I need your help.
What's the problem?
I don't know where to dig.
Well,
Dig right here.
But Ms. Monday, Mr. Franklin.
Where is here?
We decided to help Bronco Guillermo Gomez find where here was and stopped by his house in Encino to get his parents' permission and Bronco's bedroll. His folks warned us that Bronco was a fanatic on the subject and told us where we were going was not easy to reach. They wished us luck. We needed it.
Oh, no. Am I speeding?
I don't think it's the police, George.
We're not being called by the police. It's an ectologma.
That's right. An ecnolubma. An ambulance.
Well, pull over and let the ecnolubma pass, George.
They write the word backwards and reverse the letters, so when the drivers look in their rearview mirrors, the word makes sense. Right, Mr. Franklin?
Bronco, you're one smart hombre.
We were looking for a town called Mulch Gulch in the high desert northeast of Los Angeles. Bronco told us it was a ghost town which had been abandoned since the 1880s when the vein of gold prospectors found just petered out. No one had lived there for years. We decided to check the accuracy of Bronco's map and stopped at Kern County Library about 20 miles from our destination.
Excuse me.
Please, let's have some consideration for the others.
I'm sorry. I was just wondering if we could see the archives of Mulch Gulch.
Oh, hello, Bronco. I didn't see you.
We're friends of Bronco's. I'm Kate Mundy, and...
I'm George... Frankly, we're with Mathnet.
I am Dijon Moutard. Are you still looking for the treasure, Bronco?
Mm-hmm. And this time I think I've really got something.
Bronco has been poring over the history of Mulch Gulch for almost 2 years, and I keep telling him that the hidden gold is a myth. Thousands of people have searched for it, and there hasn't been a trace, but he insists it's still there. I like his spirit, but it's hopeless.
How long have you been a librarian here, Dijon?
Oh, please. My friends call me Dewey.
Dewey?
As in Dewey Decimal System.
The Dewey Decimal System.
Yes, a system libraries use to classify books and information. Melville Dewey set it up in 1876.
He's the guy that wrote the numbers. On all the books.
It's a system which classifies books in 10 categories of knowledge. For example, general works are numbered less than 100. Philosophy books are in the hundreds. Science books in the 500s. As mathematicians, you'd probably be interested in knowing where the books on your subject are. You'll find them in the 510s.
I see. How about history?
Books on history are in the 900 series. And we have sub-classifications, too. The history of California is under 979.4.
That's where the decimal comes in.
Yes, it helps us to be more specific. 979.494 is the history of Los Angeles.
I live there. Los Angeles, I mean.
The books Bronco's interested in are about the history of Kern County. 979.488. Oh, thank goodness for numbers.
Here's the map, Ms. Monday. Can I check these books out of the library, Mr. Moutard?
Of course you may, Bronco. Thank you. Maybe he is on to something. Good luck.
Thank you, Dewey. We'll be on our way. Any advice?
Not really. Oh, take plenty of blankets. Gets very cold at night. Take sturdy, sure-footed horses.
Horses?
Oh, I forgot to tell you, Mr. Franklin. The only way to get to Mulch Gulch is by horseback.
Horses? They don't like me. I don't know how to steer them.
You'll love them, George. Let's go, buckaroos.
Oh, one more thing.
Does it have anything to do with desperados?
In a way. There is one man who lives in that area. A foxy old desert person named Rommel.
Rommel?
Scruffy Rommel.
And?
Just be careful, that's all. Be real careful.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Monday, 6:43 p.m. We were more than 100 miles from Los Angeles and could only guess that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had signed to play another 20 years for the Lakers. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. The boss is Thad Green. Our newfound friend is Bronco Guillermo Gomez. My partner is George Limpalong Franklin. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We were working on a perplexing case involving gold that was stolen from a stagecoach in 1853. We decided to look at a couple of scenes from yesterday's show to refresh our memories. How much gold did he get?
15 pounds, Ms. Monday. It was worth about $3,600.
$3,600. That gold would be worth a lot more today. But in 1853, a dollar was worth a lot, too.
Let's see. Gold is worth about $500 an ounce today.
Actually, $496.75 on today's market.
Well, let's see. 15 pounds, 16 ounces in each pound.
Not when you're measuring gold, Mr. Franklin. Gold is measured in the troy system. That's 12 troy ounces to the pound.
Bronco's right, George.
Okay. 12 times 15 is...
2 times 15 is 150. And 2 more 15s is 30. So that's 180 ounces.
180 ounces at...
I'll race you, Pard.
180 ounces at roughly $500 an ounce is about $90,000.
At precisely $496.75 an ounce, it is exactly $89,415. Bronco had been working with a copy of a map indicating where the gold was supposedly hidden. He thought he'd found a solution.
I kind of stumbled on it. Look what happens when you see the reflection in this thermos.
I'll be doggone. Dig here. Oh, dig here.
We verified the map at the Kern County Library. And were warned about an old desert person named Scruffy Rommel by librarian D. Jean Moutard.
Just be careful, that's all. Be real careful.
Are you sure you know where we are, Bronco?
Whoa. Pretty sure.
Hope we get there soon. I'm not getting very good mileage on this oat burner. Quiet down, Seabiscuit. I don't like this any better than you do.
There it is, Waltz Gulch.
Sure does look like a ghost town, all right.
Let's ride. Last one to the saloon buys the sarsaparilla.
I don't know about you, Seabiscuit, but I don't much cotton to sarsaparillas.
Mulch Gulch was farther away than it looked, and by the time George and Seabiscuit looked in, it was dark. A ghost town at night looks particularly, well, ghostly.
There you go. All right. Time to tie the old feed bag soon. Come on, right around here. That's it, to the left. Come on, pal. To the left, that's it. Down. All right. All right. There you stay.
So this is Mulch Gulch.
Uh-huh. The Goldsberry just out of town. Want to see it?
It's rather dark, Bronco.
Yeah, but...
She's right, Bronco. Let's just mosey around town a bit and then make camp for the night.
Yeah, but...
We'll get an early start on the day in the morning, Bronco.
Yes, Miss Monday.
People have been looking for that stolen gold for nearly 150 years. A few more hours won't mean much.
Guess you're right, Mr. Franklin.
This must have been quite a town in the 1850s.
It sure was. An old prospector named Albatross thought he had struck it rich. But the gold ran out, and so did the people.
Bronco, who was that fellow that D. John Moutard talked about?
Scruffy Rommel?
Uh-huh. Have you ever seen him?
Nope. Heard about him. Just a grumpy old desert fox.
Well, sidekicks.
Sidekicks? What does that mean?
I don't know. They always say that in Westerns.
You were saying?
Let's set up camp outside of town and get us some shut-eye.
George, what are you doing?
Getting ready for Betty by in the Lone Prairie, Kate. Guess we ought to rustle up some grub.
Either that or eat.
Oh, for gosh sakes, Kate, you know what I mean.
I got some grub. Some dehydrated grub, Mr. Franklin.
You didn't notice, Kate, is there a fast grub place in town?
Let's just turn in. I'm plumb tuckered out.
Good idea.
Oh, there's blood on the saddle and blood on the ground, and a great big puddle of blood all around. Whoopie-tie-yi, whoopie-tie-yi.
What was that?
Sounds like gunshots.
Play, Kate. Out here in the prairie, they call it gun play. Sounds like it's coming from town.
Let's check it out, partners.
Get out, hombre. I know cotton to cowpokes and polyester.
Hi there, Marissa. Want to dance?
Yeah, well, step over here and say that. I call ya. I got aces and eights.
None reach for that money. You're not dead man by a bill.
I'm gonna put so many holes in you, you'll sound like a windstorm.
Oh, it's very macho.
Is that your nose, or did someone stuff a loaf of French bread twixt your eyes?
Reach for the skies, you four-flusher.
Don't try anything foolish, Jasper. Why, you low-down cat? I'm gonna drill you.
I'm gonna marry your face to that wall.
Maybe they heard us.
This is crazy.
Anybody got a match or a flashlight or something?
I left my flashlight back at camp.
So dark, can't even see my hand in front of my face.
Maybe it's not your face.
We can't do anything about this tonight. Let's check out this.
Ghost town?
Yes. This ghost town. Tomorrow.
Good idea, Kate. Let's low-tail it back to camp. Kate. Kate?
George, I thought you put more wood on the fire before we left for town.
I did.
Someone put out the fire. He gets sand on it.
And look, my bedroll's been rolled back up.
Mine too.
Well, my bedroll's all right.
This doesn't make any sense. Unless...
Unless what, Miss Monday?
Unless someone is trying to scare us away.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Tuesday, 9:43 a.m., and we could only wonder if the pickers were striking the growers, the directors were striking the producers, and the Dodgers were striking the baseball, because we were many, many miles from the City of the Angels. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. Our friend is Bronco Guillermo Gomez. My partner is George Tindertush Franklin. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We were in the midst of a wild and woolly mystery that involved a strongbox full of gold, which was stolen in 1853 and had never been recovered. We decided to look at a few scenes from yesterday's show to refresh our thoughts. Our guest had taken us to an old ghost town known as Mulch Gulch. Population, 0. We made camp. George, what are you doing?
Getting ready for Betty buying the Lone Prairie, Kate. Whoopie-tie-yi-ho, whoopie-tie-yi-yay.
What was that?
Sounds like gunshots.
Play, Kate. Out here in the prairie, they call it gun play. It sounds like it's coming from town.
We went into the ghost town to investigate, but as soon as we got there, everything stopped and got dark, shedding no light on our deepening mystery. This doesn't make any sense. Unless
Unless what, Miss Monday?
someone is trying to scare us away. We're gonna find out what was going on here last night.
You okay, Mr. Franklin?
Oh, it's getting dim, Kate.
George.
Tell Martha I keep my insurance policies in my sock drawer.
George.
But please, Kate, I'm a-going.
You tripped. Over this electrical cord.
Oh, good. I thought that...
Oh, here, let me help you, Mr. Franklin.
I'm all right. Let's get on with it.
George, doesn't something strike you as a little unusual?
Yes. High-heeled boots aren't as easy to walk in as I thought.
This electrical cord.
That's right. This town never had electricity. Mathematicians. Freeze, stranger.
Who are you?
Name's Rommel.
The Desert Fox?
No, that was my cousin. I'm a desert rat. Mind if I put my arms down? It's a little close in here.
What were you about to do with that tape recorder, Scruffy?
From the looks of it, I'd say I was about to take her into the shop. Why?
You got tapes of gunshots?
Yep.
Saloon fights?
Yep.
Dance hall music?
Yep.
Playing them last night?
Sure.
Trying to scare us away?
Yep.
Hoping we never come back?
And about covers her.
It almost worked.
Always has before.
Why'd you do it, Scruffy?
I like to be alone.
You don't like people?
Nope. Got no use for them.
How come?
People ruin civilization. That's how come I moved out here.
Just wanted to sit back and do nothing.
Just wanted to sit back and do nothing.
What did you used to do?
Well, in the 20s, I was an account executive with an advertising agency back east.
Really?
Yeah, pretty successful, too.
Oh?
But I quit.
Couldn't stand the pressure?
No, the commute. Ever travel from Greenwich to New York City twice a day on a mule?
Well, we want you to know we're here for a while, Scruffy. So don't try to scare us anymore.
You seem like all right folks. I suppose you're looking for Capone's gold.
How did you know that?
It's the only reason anybody ever comes here.
Have you ever looked for it, Scruffy?
Nope. I don't think there ever was any such gold. Just one of them tall tales. Anyway, sorry I scared you.
Well, one mystery solved, one to go. Let's go for the gold.
Yeah.
Mind if I tag along?
Come on.
See, Miss Monday, this is the big rock. And there's the oak tree, just like on the map.
Hold it, Bronco, buddy. There's a bunch of trees. How do you know this is the right one?
Because it's the only one that's big enough to be more than 100 years old.
Good cogitating, Bronco.
So where's the gold?
I've been around these here parts for 50 years, and there ain't no gold.
There might be, Scruffy.
Yes, Scruffy. At least give us a mathematical chance.
Sure thing. I was wondering.
Where are you, Scruffy?
Yeah. Where do you buy your shirts?
The distance between the rock and the tree is 10 paces. About 10 yards.
About 30 feet.
That a fact. So what?
So, it will help us determine where to dig if the map is to scale.
The rock is 6 inches from the tree. And you said that's 30 feet.
If the map is to scale, 1 inch stands for 5 feet.
Well, how in tarnation is that going to show you where to dig?
It's called triangulation. It's a mathematical process. Did you ever study mathematics in school?
Oh, sure. We used to have to figure out if a farmer growed 20 Peck's apples a day and sold them for a nickel a pound, how long before he could afford to go to Chicago on a train if a ticket cost $18. Is that what you mean?
Not exactly. There are a couple of ways to figure this problem out, Scruffy. Here's the rock, here's the tree. We draw a line between the two. Now, we draw a line between the rock and the arrow, and between the tree and the arrow.
You made one of them three-sided things.
A triangle.
Now, if we had a protractor.
A tractor?
A protractor is an instrument we use to measure angles.
Uh-huh. If we had a protractor, we could measure this angle and this angle.
Then what?
Then we can mark these angles on the ground here. And I can walk out this way, and you could walk from the rock at this angle, and where we meet is about where we should dig.
This mathematics stuff is fascinating. So?
So?
So do it. Dig.
We haven't got a protractor, Scruffy. So how can we find him, Miss Monday?
Well, let's assume that the map is to scale. If 1 inch stands for 5 feet, then how far is it from the rock to the arrow and from the tree to the arrow?
It is 8 inches from the rock and 10 inches from the tree.
40 feet and 50 feet. I'll get the ropes.
A necktie party?
Oh, Scruffy.
Just kidding, Miss Kate. Lighten up.
How long are they, George?
I don't know.
We need a 50-foot length and a 40-foot length. How tall are you, George?
6 feet, 1/8 inch.
Here's a 6-foot length of rope, roughly.
If he's to scale.
There's a 12-foot length of rope.
Double that, and you get 24.
And once again, we get 48. Add 2 more feet, we get approximately 50 feet. Bronco and Scruffy took the 50-foot lengths to the tree, while I measured 40 feet on the second rope. George took our rope to the rock, and the measurement continued. This is where the gold should be.
Roughly where the gold should be. If the map and George are to scale. Ha ha ha.
Hey, you guys, here's the third leg of the triangle. Look, if you liked it on the map, then you'll love it on the ground.
Our digging began in earnest, but before long, the novelty wore off. We were about to give up when suddenly...
Miss Monday! I hit something!
You certainly did.
We found the treasure!
Yahoo! $90,000!
I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own desert rat eyes.
Open it up, Bart.
Treasure? No. The other part of the map.
The story you're about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Tuesday, 2:43 p.m., and whatever was happening in Los Angeles was probably happening on a bed of sprouts, but whatever it was that was happening without us. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet, miles away from our home base. The boss is Thad Green. My partner is George. What a dude, frankly. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. A young friend named Bronco Guillermo Gomez had gotten us involved in trying to find $90,000 worth of gold, which was stolen in 1853. It was a real mystery, and we decided to look at a few scenes from the previous show to help jumpstart our memories. Someone had been trying to frighten us away from Mulch Gulch, and we finally found out who.
Trying to scare us away?
Yeah,
Hoping we never come back?
and about covers her.
It almost worked.
Scruffy seemed to be a harmless old desert rat who just liked to be alone, but came with us as we tried to locate a landmark on the map Bronco had. We used mathematics to solve the... Assume that the map is to scale. If 1 inch stands for 5 feet, then how far is it from the rock to the arrow and from the tree to the arrow?
8 inches from the rock and 10 inches from the tree.
40 feet and 50 feet. I'll get the ropes.
We measured the ropes, 50 feet on one, 40 feet on the other. We walked them out from the tree and the rock using a mathematical method called triangulation. This is where the gold should be.
Miss Monday! I hit something!
You certainly did.
We found the treasure!
Yahoo! $90,000!
I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own desert rat eyes.
Open it up, Hard.
Treasure?
No. The other part of the map. Other part of map. C. Myrer. 1853.
Myra? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Other part of map, C. Meyer.
Probably means in 1853 there was a man named Charlie Myrer who had another part of the map.
Charlie Myrer?
Or Claudia or Calvin, some first name that begins with C.
You may be right, but he'd be dead by now.
If we could find out who this person was, maybe we could still find the other part of the map. Maybe it's at a house he owned.
Or maybe they buried it with him.
It's worth a try, I guess, but sure seems like a long shot.
We've got those books from Mr. Moutard. Maybe there's a census in one of them. You know, a list of people who lived here.
You check that, George. I'll check the register of deeds and newspaper files.
What can I do?
Bronco, why don't you and Scruffy check out Boot Hill?
Boot Hill?
The cemetery, sure. Maybe there's a tombstone with a name on it.
Right. Okay. Move them out. Each member of our team had an assignment, and we carried it out quickly. The person named Myrer, of course, might not have lived in Mulch Gulch. He might have just been passing through, but it was a clue we had to follow up. George didn't have any luck.
Nothing in the books, Kate. There was no census list.
They've been taking censuses since 1790, George.
Maybe Mr. Moutard has the census list. If we had a phone, I could call him.
Their nearest phone is about a 5-mile ride, George. I'd do it, George, but I haven't finished my task. I was having no luck, and neither were Scruffy and Bronco.
Nothing, Kate. Not a marker with a name on it that's even close to Myra.
We looked at every one, too.
I didn't find anything. Maybe George is having more luck.
Mr. Moutard, George Franklin, do you have a census for the years 1850 to 1860 for Mulch Gulch?
Oh, most certainly.
You do? Is there a name C. Myrer?
I'll check.
I'll be just a minute. Oh, yes, Mr. Moutard.
I'm sorry, Mr. Franklin. According to the records, no one by that name lived in Mulch Gulch at that time.
Rats. I thought we had the gold for sure this time. Thank you, Mr. Moutard.
My pleasure to serve you, Mr. Franklin.
It's okay. They will fight.
We're right back where we started.
I ain't.
You ain't. I mean, you aren't?
Nope, but I'm about to be. I'm going back to my camp. Nice meeting you, folks. And next time I'm in L.A., I'll say hello.
You come to L.A. occasionally, Scruffy?
Nope, never had reason to before. Ciao.
We said goodbye to Scruffy and decided to play What If at the local saloon.
What's what if?
A little game we play to try to get our facts in order. Can help you lay out a problem. Like this.
What if this C. Myra was Capone's partner and he lived in another town? There wouldn't be a record.
Uh-huh. What if C. Myra was his wife and Myra was her maiden name?
But why would Mrs. Capone use her maiden name?
Maybe she used it professionally.
What if C. Myra isn't a person?
What do you mean?
I mean, what if the word means something else?
Like Myra. Myra doesn't mean anything.
Mirror. Doesn't mean anything either.
Mirror. C. Mirror?
That's not how you spell mirror. It's not how you spell C.
It's gotta be it. Other part of the map, see mirror. Other part of the map, see mirror.
Hold it up to the mirror, Kate. The mirror. It's like the ambulance in Monday's show.
Yeah, maybe it's backwards and reversed.
Nothing.
Turn it around.
What the hex?
Hex.
A hex is a spell of some kind.
Something's funny about that word.
Yes. The letters are symmetrical, if that's what you mean.
Yes, if you put a mirror along one half, you see the other half. That's why they make the word.
What I meant was, maybe he misspelled another word. Hex. Look.
Bronco, you've done it again.
Hex marks the spot.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Tuesday, 6:43 p.m., and not a trace of smog in the air. We were miles north of Los Angeles, California zip code 91603. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. My partner is George Bowlegs Franklin. Our friend is Bronco Guillermo Gomez. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We've been working, and working hard on several mathematical problems which we hoped would bring us closer to a fortune in gold. Gold that was stolen in 1853 from a stagecoach by a desperado named Saddle Sore Capone. We decided to look at a few scenes from previous episodes to get the cobwebs out of our attics.
And this is a copy of the map I made.
Where did the original map come from, Bronco?
It was found on Saddle Sore Capone when he died. The map is in the library, and I've been studying up on the subject a lot, and I copied it there.
This doesn't look like a treasure map to me. I mean, treasure maps always have an X where the treasure is buried. You know, X marks the spot.
Bronco pointed out that thousands of people had looked for the treasure using part of the map, and no one had found it.
I kind of stumbled on it. Look what happens when you see the reflection in this thermos.
Reflects. So what?
Watch what happens when I put it on a map, right here.
I'll be doggone. Dig here. Oh, dig here.
That was enough to interest me and George, and we made our way to Mulch Gulch to look for stolen gold. Dijon Moutard, a librarian, warned us about an old desert rat in the area.
A foxy old desert person named Rommel. Scruffy Rommel.
And?
Just be careful, that's all. Be real careful.
And we found him. A harmless old fellow named Scruffy who helped us continue our search.
We found the treasure!
Yahoo! $90,000!
I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own desert rat eyes.
Open it up, Pard.
Treasure?
No. It's another map. Other part of map. C. Myra, 1853.
Myra? What does that mean?
I don't know. We had assumed it was someone's name, and that someone had the other part of the map. We checked it out. We looked at old records, checked out books, even looked at headstones in the cemetery looking for someone with the name Myra. We found nothing. We were discouraged, to say the least. We're right back where we started.
I ain't.
You ain't? I mean, you aren't?
Scruffy decided to go back to his beloved desert and left us to ponder the puzzle and play What If?
What if Steve Myra isn't a person?
What do you mean?
I mean, what if the word means something else?
It was an interesting hypothesis,
Mirror. See mirror?
and it seemed to work.
Other part of the map, see mirror.
We finally had it. We bet on it.
What the hex?
Hex?
A hex is a spell of some kind.
Something's funny about that word.
Yes, the letters are symmetrical, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, so we put a mirror along one half, you see the other half. That's why they make the word.
What I meant was, maybe he misspelled another word. Hex. Look.
Bronco, you've done it again.
Hex marks the spot. You know something?
What?
We know that hex marks the spot.
What spot does hex mark?
Exactly. There are no landmarks on the map. Nothing to relate to.
Finally solved. Other part of map, see mirroring.
Hold it. We thought the message meant a man named Seymour had another part of the map, right?
Right.
Let's see the first part of the map, Bronco.
They match. This is the other part of the map.
We know that this triangle is to scale. Let's assume this one is too. Eight inches from the tree. 6 inches from the dig site. And look, it's identical to the other triangle.
Using triangulation again, we discovered where hex marked the spot.
The gold.
That isn't it lovely?
And Bronco, I guess the gold is yours.
No strings?
No strings. What are you going to do with it?
You're gonna give it to me.
Did you say something, Kate?
No, but...
Up with your hands. Stick 'em up.
Mr. Mutard? What are you doing here?
Coming to claim what's my own. Now, all of you, up with your hands in the air.
Just a minute, Mr. Mutard. That gold isn't yours.
It is now. I've been looking for it my whole life. Saddle Sore Capone was my great-grandfather on my mother's side, and that gold belongs to me.
But Saddle Sore Capone stole that gold. It wasn't his to begin with.
Oh, don't be a nitpicker, Miss Monday. Now, all of you, down on your tummies. I'm gonna tie you up.
You're giving librarians all over the world a very bad name, Mr. D. John Mutard.
Can't be helped. Now, just shush.
Reach for the skies, you four-flusher! Don't try anything foolish, Jasper!
Why, you low-down pole cat?
I'm gonna marry your face to that wall! 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 Wall!
Scruffy, are you ever a sight for sore eyes?
Howdy, Miss Kate. Hope I didn't interrupt anything. You know, I was thinking, what if that name C. Myra wasn't really a name after all, but an instruction? You know, something like C. Mirror. Does that make any sense?
Perfect sense, Scruffy. Perfect sense.
Tell me, Scruffy,
Yeah?
why didn't you use that gun on Dijon?
Don't believe in him.
Over there. Mutard.
Get you for this Rommel.
What did he say?
I didn't hear him, Scruffy. I don't know what he said.
D. John Moutard was convicted of a 211 attempted robbery and a 020.313 disgracing the Dewey Decimal System. Bronco Guillermo Gomez took the $90,000 and saved $80,000 for his college education. The other $10,000 he put in a money market account, figuring the rollover factor would be about 6.7 times his principal in 20 years, if the market stayed healthy.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Monday, 9:43 a.m., and the LA River was awash with flotsam and jetsam from the recent heavy unseasonal rains. Flotsam and jetsam were two personal injury lawyers plying their trade in the wake of the latest disaster. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. My partner is George Frankley. The assistant chief is Rosa Morales. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician.
Morning, George.
Oh, hi, Kate. I didn't know you were here.
I just got here, George. How was your weekend?
Oh, not bad. Had an argument with my neighbor.
Mr. Beasley?
Uh-huh, I borrowed some things and he wanted them back.
So what was the argument?
Couldn't find them.
You lost them.
No, they're around. I just couldn't put my finger on them.
So what were they?
His riding lawnmower and his canoe.
Easy enough to misplace. Can't you finish your crossword puzzle?
There's one long word I can't get.
What is it?
I don't know. That's why I haven't finished it. Oh, you mean the clue. The clue is decamp.
Absquatulate.
Pardon me?
Absquatulate is another word for decamp. It means to scram, leave, get out.
You're right. It fits. I didn't know you do crosswords, Kate.
I don't.
Did you see the article about what the seer saw?
Seer?
You know, the woman who claims she can predict the future? According to the paper, she's got an incredible record.
Oh, really? What'd she predict?
The exact score of the last Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
Before the game.
Really?
The presidential election, including the number of states that each of those guys carried, plus the last noticeable earthquake, including the magnitude.
You know how those jokers work, George. They make hundreds of guesses. Sooner or later, they get one right, and then they publicize the few that turn out to be accurate.
I know, but she also predicted the top finishers in the coveted Angel Awards. And get this, 2 weeks ago, she predicted the time and magnitude of the next LA quake.
There was an earthquake last night.
9:47 p.m. It registered on my seismograph, a 3.2 on the Richter scale.
George, you are the only living human being I know who has his very own seismograph.
Martha gave it to me on our 6th anniversary.
Is this that woman who writes the column of predictions for that awful newspaper?
Yeah, the supermarket paper.
The National Inquisitor. Sybil Devine is her name?
Yep. As a matter of fact, she's on TV as we speak.
How come?
She made her earthquake prediction on that dumb TV show, Geraldo Rialto Rants.
Boy, does he ever.
Since there was an earthquake last night, she's coming back on the show this morning. Ah, there it is.
Welcome back to Geraldo, the show that asks the question, it's none of your business. We've been speaking with Jacqueline Custodian, a scuba diver who can't swim, and Sergeant Alvin Dork, the man who captured 117 enemy soldiers in 1948 when there was no war. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen of the television audience, a big Geraldo welcome for Ms. Sybil Devine.
To tell you the truth, I didn't think you'd have the guts to come back on my nationally syndicated television show. Check your local listings for time and station.
You misjudged me, Mr. Rialto. I had every intention of returning, just to prove that my predictions are accurate, and to see you get your smarmy comeuppance in person.
For my many loyal viewers in the U.S. and Canada, and soon to be seen in 77 sites in Siberia, Ms. Devine made an earthquake prediction. Sealed it in an envelope, and that envelope was then sealed in another envelope.
Come on, get on with the getting.
So cute when you're mad,
That was
George.
placed in our studio safe under guard. Now, the moment of truth. Or fiction.
All I need is a drum roll.
Envelope number 1. I'll let you do the honors.
Here is my prediction. L.A. quake, November 15th, which was last night, 9:47 p.m., with a magnitude of 3.2 on the Richter scale.
Let's see that.
My gosh, how did she make that prediction?
I don't know.
How did you make that prediction?
Perfectly. She's got an interesting scam, doesn't she?
Oh, she's very lucky. A lot of scientists believe the big quake will hit L.A. in the next 50 years.
Yes, but some say it's a 60% chance, some say a 75%, and some say a 90% chance.
I know, but for the purposes of argument, let's say we know the big quake will definitely hit in the next 50 years.
Uh-huh.
Even to predict the exact year would be 1 chance in 50.
2%. Not a very high probability.
And to predict the quake to the day would be 365 days times 50 years. About 1 chance in 18,250, predicting the right day.
But she seems to be able to predict with even more accuracy.
But to predict the hour would be 1 chance in 438,000.
And to the exact minute?
Less than 1 in 26 million. Some scam.
Hello, Mathnetters.
Morning, Rosa.
Hello, Rosa. How was your weekend?
No time for that now, George. We've got a problem. Do you know Sybil Devine?
Yes, we just saw her on TV.
So did everyone in L.A. The mayor is being inundated with phone calls.
Boy, am I glad I'm not a pal. You know, politician. Phones ringing off the wall, kissing hands, shaking babies.
What's the trouble, Rosa? Everyone in town wants that predictor put on the mayor's staff, so she can predict the big one.
You mean the big quake that everyone says is coming?
That's right. And I want you two to get on her case. Find out all you can about earthquake predictions, and do it quick.
But nobody can predict earthquakes accurately.
Sure. Everyone knows that, even politicians.
You know it, and I know it. But millions of people still believe it can be done, and that's why they're calling the mayor. We have to avoid a panic. And if I may call your attention to something...
Yes, ma'am?
That woman just did it. Now get busy.
You bet we will, Rosa.
Kate, let's squatulate.
When you're trying to solve a problem, a good way to start is to learn all you can about the subject. One way to do that is to consult with an expert in the field. George and I arranged to do just that. We were going to see Dr. Milton Miyazaki, a renowned scientist who asked us to meet him at the Griffith Observatory. We were a little early, and I was starved. No time for breakfast. So we stopped at our usual place, Ma's Lockup, a fast food sit-down spot run by an ex-prison matron whose slogan is, "You'll be out in 7 to 10 minutes."
Are you sure you just don't want to roll or something, George?
No, thanks, Kate. I had a hearty breakfast. You know, juice, cereal, waffles, syrup, omelet, steak, dessert.
Just catch it, please.
It may sound like a silly question, George, but
Uh-huh.
do you know what causes earthquakes?
Oh, sure, Kate. It's a shift in one of the many plates that make up the surface of the earth.
Plates?
Uh-huh. Here, let me show you. Take this hamburger.
You just did, George.
All right, assume this bun is part of the earth, and the outside is the crust. And each half of the burger is a plate.
George?
See that crack in the bun? That's a fault or weakness. And as pressures build up inside the earth, these plates may slip like this or slide like this. When this happens, there's
shakes or quakes. If you're on the surface of the earth or the bun, it's very scary. And sometimes very dangerous.
And messy.
We'd better roll. You want anything more to eat?
I'm not hungry anymore.
Me neither.
The Griffith Observatory is a magnificent edifice overlooking the Los Angeles basin. It houses a planetarium, several telescopes, and at the moment, Dr. Milton Miyazaki.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I'm Kate Monday. This is my partner, George.
Frankly, Mathnet.
How do you do? I'm Milton Miyazaki. How may I be of help?
Dr. Miyazaki, we're interested in earthquakes.
So am I. We should talk sometime.
Do you know Sybil Devine?
The woman who predicted last night's earthquake?
No, but I heard about it.
How could she have accurately predicted that quake?
I have no idea.
She even predicted the magnitude, 3.2.
One of the things we do know for certain about earthquakes is how to measure them. Let me show you. This is a seismograph.
I have one at home. Oh, this one's fancier.
Oh. Well, let me show you how it works. Now, Ms. Monday, I want you to hold this pen so that it just touched the pad. Now, in an earthquake, the earth quakes, shakes. Now, let's pretend that this pad is the Earth's surface. The surface is moving a little bit all the time, like this. And when the Earth shakes a lot, like this, we get lines like this. Now, that's the principle behind this demonstration and the seismograph.
Where does the 3.2 come from?
That's the Richter scale reading, Kate.
Oh, correct, Mr. Frankly. The Richter scale is used to measure the magnitude.
That's the strength, Kate.
Thanks, George.
The Earth, close to the center of the quake, shakes a lot.
That's what we call the epicenter. The farther you get away from it, the less it shakes. Right, Doc?
Yes. Now, to get a measurement of the quake, we need to know its distance first, and then how it relates to the amount shaking. Anything to add, Mr. Franklin?
No, you're doing just fine. Can you show Kate how you calculated the magnitude of last night's quake?
Sure. Follow me. This is a blow-up of last night's seismogram.
Seismogram is a reading from a seismograph, Kate.
This shows two distinctly different kinds of shock waves. The first wave is the P wave. That travels the fastest, and it is the primary or push wave.
That's why they call it the P wave. Right, Doc?
Yes. It's caused when the Earth pushes, like this. The second wave is the S wave.
S for secondary.
Yes. A secondary because the wave is slower, and it also registers the twisting that goes on during the quake, like this. The P wave registers here. The S wave registers here. We measure the difference between the two. 3 seconds. From our calculations, we can find the distance of the quake from the seismograph. 3 seconds, roughly 25 kilometers or 15 miles.
But where did the Richter scale come in?
We next need to know the quake's amplitude.
Oh.
Last night's quake measured 19 millimeters.
That doesn't look like 19 millimeters.
Now remember, this is a blow-up. We chart that point on the amplitude scale right here.
Right here. So the doctor made the mark.
Now, the scale in the middle is the Richter scale. Each number represents powers of 10. When we draw a line from the S minus P delay point here, or distance point, across, will you help me? To the amplitude point, where it crosses the Richter scale is
the magnitude of the quake, 3.2. Voila! Oh, that's a French word. I think it means, there it is.
Dr. Miyazaki, did you say these numbers represent powers of 10?
Yes.
Does that mean that a magnitude of 3 represents an earthquake 10 times stronger than a 2?
Yes, and a 4 is 100 times stronger than a 2.
So a 5 is 1,000 times stronger than a 2.
Absolutely right, Miss Monday. Congratulations, you're on your way to becoming an earth scientist.
Now we know the magnitude, Dr. Miyazaki. How do we know where it hits?
Well, let me show you this. Follow me. Okay. Now, from our chart, we know that the quake happened about 25 kilometers from here.
But 25 kilometers in which direction?
Exactly.
So it could have happened anywhere in the circle.
Yes, so we need additional information. Now, our seismograph in Oxnard told us the event happened 110 kilometers from there.
That's what that arc represents.
And?
Ah, they intersected 2 points. It could have happened here or here. We need a third reading, another arc.
Precisely. Our station in El Toro placed the quake around 50 kilometers from there.
Where the lines cross
is about where the epicenter of the quake was.
It's a little like triangulation.
It's called trilateration.
But, Doctor, are you sure no one can accurately predict earthquakes?
Absolutely. We're working on it all the time. It's the one problem I can guarantee you no one has solved yet. Maybe someday. We keep trying. Oh, I have some additional information on earthquakes for you.
Thank you, Doctor.
11 Adam 12, 11 Adam 12.
Monday, go ahead.
11 Adam 12, you have an appointment to see the seer to see what the seer sees.
Don't you mean you want to see the seer to see what the seer saw?
Negative. See the seer to see what the seer sees. Tomorrow at 12 noon, she will be at the City Hall with the mayor and the city council.
And?
She's going to predict the time of the next earthquake in Los Angeles.
100% of Square One TV is a production of the Children's Television Workshop.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Tuesday, 9:44 a.m. I was running a minute late because the freeways were at a standstill. The Pasadena had emptied into the Hollywood, causing backup on the harbor, bottlenecking on the Ventura, rubbernecking on the Long Beach, and rednecking on the Pomona. It was not a pretty picture. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. My partner is George Franklin. The assistant chief is Rosa Morales. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We were trying to hold off a panic in the City of Angels. A lady claimed she could predict, among other things, earthquakes. We laughed, but she did. We decided to look at earlier Emmy-seeking scenes to refresh our memories. When trying to solve a problem of any kind, it's always a good idea to go over and over the facts. Sybil Devine, a woman who said she could predict the future, did just that. Predicted an LA earthquake on a television show. Her lucky guess unleashed an avalanche of phone calls on Mayor Lombard Quayle, demanding that this seer predict the big quake, which most scientists believe is going to hit California. Assistant Chief Rosa Morales gave us our orders.
Find out all you can about earthquake predictions, and do it quick.
We got a signal on the service that Sybil was to see the city solons to see what the seer had seen. Knowing the seer couldn't see shakes, we were interested to see what the seer said she had seen. So, we said so long.
Morning, Pard.
Hi there, Sluggabed. A little late today, huh?
A little. What's up?
Not much. I brought my seismograph in. You know, just in case.
Uh-huh. I read a lot about earthquakes last night.
I was going to, but I got sleepy. So Martha and I rented a movie.
Oh, what'd you see?
The Red Shoes.
Hmm.
It's about dancing.
I remember. George, were you in L.A. when the big quake hit in '71?
Sure was. It was a 6.4 and pretty scary. Dozens of people were killed, hundreds injured, and damage of about $1 billion. What's that?
A map of California.
I thought so.
This is the San Andreas Fault. The red dots represent previous quakes.
And these are other faults branching out from it.
Right. This map shows where quakes have occurred in the past. They tend to cluster in certain locations.
It's okay, just as long as they don't cluster under my house.
The probability that an earthquake will occur tends to vary from place to place in any time period. If past history is any guide, it's more likely that a quake will occur here than here.
But when?
Well, George, nobody knows
for certain.
Even though people have been predicting them since Nostradamus. Remember Nostradamus?
Sure. They just lost a big one last Saturday to Michiganus.
I think that was Notre Dame. Anyway, these kooky predictors have been at it for centuries.
Speaking of kooky predictors, it's about that time.
About what time?
Sybil's Earthquake Prediction Show, live from City Hall.
Let's roll, George.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press and others, as you know, I have become known as your earthquake mayor. And in an ongoing effort to prove I will leave no stone unturned when it comes to earthquakes, no matter how far-fetched, I give you Miss Sybil Devine.
Thank you, Mayor Quayle. I'm sure you must all have many questions to ask of me, and I'll answer as many as possible. Yes, the newsperson with a funny nose.
How are you able to make such accurate predictions, Miss Devine?
It's divine, and it's a gift.
Follow question. When did you get the gift?
The gift was given as I danced the gavotte.
The gavotte? Where was the gift given?
In the garden.
The gift was given as you danced the gavotte in the garden?
Yes, while I was gathering.
You were gathering in the garden during the gavotte when the gift was given?
Yes. I was dancing the gavotte of harvest, a few scant months ago, when I received the power of VSP.
VIP.
VSP, very special person. There are not very many VSPs in the world.
How many are there?
Well, in the Western world, there's only one, me. There are rumors of a 7-year-old juggler in a Tibetan village music hall who can predict future events, but only as they pertain to the booking of Tibetan village music hall jugglers.
Can you predict when the next earthquake will hit California?
Oh, yes.
Will you?
Yes. But I'm sure you realize, Mayor Quayle, there's no such thing as a free lunch. I will predict the next Los Angeles earthquake for nothing. But I'm sure you realize the next quake isn't the big one. My prediction of the big quake will cost the City of Angels a heavenly $10 million.
$10 million? That's unheard of, Miss Devine.
Until now, so was predicting the big quake, Mayor Quayle.
What about the next quake?
The freebie? Wait. I feel it coming. Yes. It's getting closer.
Pete's sake.
The next quake will hit Los Angeles now.
Kate. I don't get it. What she did was impossible.
Yes, but she did it.
The
story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Tuesday, 12:47 p.m., and the Writers Guild of America was contemplating another strike, moving Hollywood to near apathy. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. My partner is George Frankley. The assistant chief is Rosa Morales. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We were in the midst of a problem that could cause a panic. It had to do with earthquakes in Los Angeles. We had to learn as much as we could about these natural phenomena and do it fast. We decided to view a few scenes from earlier episodes to refill our think tanks. Sybil Devine, a seer, said she could predict LA's next quake. Therein lies the panic. One good way to solve a problem is to make a list of important facts. Number 1, George told me what causes earthquakes using my hamburger as the Earth. He said the quakes are caused by a shifting of the plates on the crust of the Earth. This causes the surface to shake or quake. It can go up or down and back and forth. Number 2, we consulted with Dr. Milton Miyazaki, a renowned scientist who explained how, using mathematics and scientific tools, he could discover the strength or magnitude of quakes. Number 3, using a formula called trilateration, Dr. Miyazaki showed us how we could pinpoint the epicenter. That's where the quake is most severe. Then I asked him,
Doctor, are you sure no one can accurately predict earthquakes?
Absolutely. We're working on it all the time. It's the one problem I can guarantee you no one has solved yet. Maybe someday. We keep trying.
Then Sybil Devine announced,
My prediction of the big quake will cost the City of Angels a heavenly $10 million.
The story of this prediction is going to spread across the Los Angeles area in minutes.
It's their job, Mayor Quayle.
I know it's their job, Mr. Frankley. I read the newspapers first thing every morning.
I have juice.
You're in a tough spot, Mayor.
Sort of between a rock and a harder rock.
I don't think I have a choice.
What do you mean, Mayor Quayle?
When the story gets out that Sybil Devine can predict the time and magnitude of the big quake, people are going to insist that we pay her the $10 million.
But you can't, Your Honor.
Why not?
She can't predict earthquakes. Nobody can.
She just did.
It has to be a fake.
You think the people of this fair city are going to believe that?
You're in a no-win situation, Your Honor.
How so?
Let's assume you buy her prediction, and she says that the big one is coming in 2 weeks.
That fast?
Assume.
So what do you do?
Well, I have 2 weeks to evacuate the city in an orderly fashion. People leave. The quake hits. No one is injured or killed. Just property damage.
What if the quake doesn't happen?
You just said she's... Oh, I see what you mean. What if it's a fake?
Right. Now you've put 13 million people out of their homes.
Oh, I see what you mean. They'd be mad. Well, what if she's right?
Your Honor? Mayor Quayle?
Ah, yes.
Here are your options. I often draw a little picture when I'm trying to solve a problem. Helps me to think about my options and...
Get on with it, George.
All right, let's say you pay the money and the prediction is true. You've made a good investment.
Ah.
But what if the prediction is false?
Exactly. Bad investment, and you lost $10 million. But if the prediction is false and you don't pay, you save $10 million.
But if I don't pay the money...
And you don't get her prediction.
And the quake hits.
Disaster.
If I pay for a prediction and it's true, then I've done the right thing.
If paying extortion is ever the right thing.
Extortion?
Yes. She's blackmailing you. She cannot predict earthquakes. I would bet my bottom dollar on it.
But would you bet 13 million lives on it?
Mayor Quayle, give us 24 hours to solve this problem.
We'll go to work on it right away.
What if the big one happens right away?
It won't.
How do you know?
I don't. But the chances are very small.
Mayor Quayle.
Yes?
Let my people go.
I don't know.
Ms. Devine can wait 24 hours.
Tell her you'll meet with her at noon tomorrow and give her an answer.
Very well.
Just what?
I just hope it's not too late.
You two know your assignment? Yes.
We'll get to the bottom of this dilemma. Don't worry about a thing.
Thanks, George. But I think I will.
George, I think it's time to play What Do We Know?
Kate, I don't think we know enough to play What Do We Know.
We know no one can accurately predict an earthquake, and we know that Sybil Devine has done just that.
But here's what we don't know much about.
What?
Sybil Devine.
Devine.
Devine. Right.
Let's ask Debbie to run a background check on her.
Good idea. You do that, and I'll do this. Mathnet, frankly. Who? Oh, hello, Mr. Beasley. No? No, I haven't found your canoe yet.
Thanks, Debbie. Debbie's on the case, George.
Look, right now, all we know about Sybil is that she writes for the Inquisitor and has done that for a year or so.
That's right.
Hey.
Hey, what?
Hey, Kate. Nothing happened.
George?
My seismograph, it doesn't show an earthquake. Look at this. This is just a regular old everyday reading.
Maybe your seismograph is broken.
I'll turn up the intensity and check it. Nope. Works all right.
You mean to tell me we weren't in an earthquake?
I'm not telling you that. This scientific tool is telling you that.
But, George...
I know. The building shook, but...
It wasn't an earthquake.
That's right.
Then what?
A bomb?
Mean she had somebody drop a bomb so we'd think it was an earthquake? George, really?
Well, maybe not a bomb, but something.
Maybe construction was going on in the area at the time.
Sure. And she knew they were going to detonate some explosives or something.
I'll check with the building department of the city. They have to issue all permits for explosives.
Sure, they'd have a record. We've just about got her.
Yes, sir, this is Kate Monday. I wonder if you could tell me if there was any construction going on near City Hall in which explosives were used today? Yes, I'll hold.
Somehow she knew exactly when they were going to set up the dynamite and timed it so it would look like a quake. She is a diabolical woman, no question.
Nothing at all? What was the nearest site in which explosives were used around noon today? Oh, thank you very much.
Where's the nearest explosion?
There were no scheduled explosions at all today.
Then she had accomplices and they set up an unscheduled explosion.
Maybe.
I'll check with Sam and Steve and see if there's been any unusually large sales of dynamite.
Ask them to check construction sites. See if any large quantities of explosives were stolen.
Good idea.
Get anything, Debbie?
Want me to show you the complete dossier I've been able to dig up on our seer?
Terrific, Debbie. Thanks. So fast, too.
Good going, Debbie.
What's this?
Zip.
She's got no history?
That's right.
No driver's license?
Nope.
No social security card?
Mm-mm.
No home address, work address?
Post office box, friends, neighbors, business acquaintances, health clubs?
She's a complete enigma. All we know is that she's staying at the Dome Peak Motel on Washington Boulevard.
What about the place she works for? National Inquisitor.
No one there knows her. She's been writing for him for about a year, but she always just mails the columns in.
I don't get it. Everyone's got a history.
Sure. That's where history books come from.
I've got a check on her running through the FBI. I haven't got the results yet. I'll get back to you.
Thanks, Debbie.
Mathnet, frankly. Oh, hi, Steve. Any luck? No large sales of explosives? Uh-huh. No thefts either. Thanks, Steve. Oh, are we still on for dinner Friday? Oh. I'm sorry. Talk about unusual predictions.
What's that, George?
Steve's going to be sick this Friday.
They get anything?
0.
Any luck, Mathnetters?
We know that it wasn't an earthquake and it wasn't an explosion.
Only one question to answer, then.
Ma'am?
What made the building shake?
Good point.
Dr. Miyazaki, this is Kate Monday, Mathnet. No, that's George, frankly, Mathnet. He's the other one. Oh, really? That's what I was calling about. He says they've had hundreds of calls about the news. Doctor, we don't think it was a quake. You're sure it was not?
Can I jump in, Kate? Dr. Miyazaki, this is George Franklin, Mathnet. What could have caused downtown Los Angeles to shake today? It didn't?
Didn't?
But we were in City Hall, and
City Hall was the only building that shook?
well, didn't anyone in the adjacent buildings feel anything?
Could have been caused by an explosion or a bomb.
You would have picked up an explosion that large in your seismograph, and what? You can tell the difference between an explosion and an earthquake.
And neither one showed up. Thank you, sir.
You know something, Pard?
What?
We just went through an earthquake that didn't happen.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Tuesday, 2:20 p.m., and a large tractor-trailer truck had jackknifed, spilling its entire load of down-filled comforters at the 4-level interchange, blanketing the L.A. basin. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. My partner is George Frankley. The assistant chief is Rosa Morales. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. When you live in California, earthquakes are pretty common, but when a seer called Sybil Devine says she can accurately predict them, well, that's pretty uncommon. We were trying to get to the bottom of this case and decided to scan a few scenes from earlier times to jumpstart our gray matter. When you're trying to solve a problem, sometimes a good game to play is what do we know? It helps organize facts, keeping the relevant and losing the irrelevant. From Sybil Devine, we knew she wanted a
heavenly $10 million.
$10 million to accurately predict the big quake. We also knew from Dr. Milton Miyazaki that no one can accurately do this. He did tell us,
One of the things we do know for certain about earthquakes is how to measure them.
they measure the magnitude of earthquakes using devices called seismographs and a series of mathematical manipulations. He further showed us how the center of the earthquake could be located using a mathematical notion called
trilateration.
But he emphasized that although many scientists are trying to solve the problem of predicting earthquakes,
It's the one problem I can guarantee you no one has solved yet.
we felt better knowing Sybil Devine had to be running some kind of scam until that day in Mayor Quayle's office. Sybil Devine predicted the earthquake would happen.
No!
And it did. We were there, and the building shook. Then my partner noticed something unusual.
My seismograph, it doesn't show an earthquake.
In fact, it showed no unusual earth movement of any kind. After further investigation, we called Dr. Miyazaki.
Doctor, we don't think it was a quake. You're sure it was not?
Something made that building quake, and we couldn't figure out much about Sybil Devine's past. In fact, Debbie found...
Zip.
She's got no history?
That's right.
We seem to be running around like a cliche with its head cut off. We needed to find out.
What made the building shake?
And we needed to find out fast. We had just a few more hours before Mayor Quayle was going to make the $10 million decision.
Good point.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Mathneters. Sit down.
Thanks, Steve. Sorry to interrupt your break, but we need to talk to you.
Hi, Sam. Eating a burger and french fries?
Uh-huh. Anyone can do it, George.
Gentlemen, we only have a few more hours to figure out how Sybil Devine pulled off that earthquake yesterday.
I know, Kate. Put a lot of salt in your fries, Sam.
I do it to keep people away, George.
We know it wasn't a quake, and we know it wasn't an explosion.
I talked to the chief of maintenance at City Hall.
What'd he say?
He still believes it's a quake.
That's the problem. Almost everyone in L.A. thinks it was.
Kate, there's part of the reason.
Authorities admitted later that they hadn't actually seen the goat, but they assured the airlines the investigation will continue into Tuesday. Psychic Seer claims she can predict the big Southern California earthquake. Tremors at 11.
Well, let's play What Do We Know?
I know you took another French fry.
We know whatever shook City Hall didn't shake anything else in the neighborhood.
That's right.
Maybe whatever shook the building is still in the building.
Steve, you and Sam take every available man and comb that building from top to bottom. George, let's go see Sybil the Seer to see what she says she's soon to see.
Kate, she's a fraud.
Hello. It was nice of you to see us, Miss Devine.
It's her job, Kate. She's a seer.
Won't you come in? I have only a few moments.
I have one of these. It's got penguins inside it. When you shake it, it snows.
You said on the phone that you had something important to discuss. Before the city fathers give you $10 million, they'd like to know who you are and where you come from. I am all people. My home is universal.
I love your tour.
Not Universal City. The entire universe.
Bet you got a lot of junk mail.
I get a feeling, Mr. Frankly, that you are not a believer. Yea, verily, forsooth, you are a cynic.
No, I am a Libra. If you're so smart, tell me where Mr. Beasley's canoe is.
George, forgive my partner, Miss Devine. If you'll excuse me. Please, I must ask. If you do have this power, do you think it's fair to sell it? You bet your bippy I think it's fair. This is a dog-eat-dog world, Miss Mundy.
Now who's being cynical?
Listen, Buster. For years I had nothing. I lived from hand to mouth. I never knew where my next meal was coming from. I never knew where I was going to sleep at night. I was fighting the elements. Alone, cold, miserable.
I felt that way once when I got lost in a Boy Scout campout.
I won't tolerate this insolence any longer. Please leave. If I have to see either of you again, it'll be at City Hall tomorrow. If it's not too late. Sorry to have bothered you, Mr. Devine. Come on, George.
I'm sorry, Kate. I can't stand being around fake predictors. They shouldn't be allowed to voice this stuff on the public.
It's okay, George. Let's go back to the office and see if Debbie found anything.
Hello, mathematicians.
Hi, Debbie. Hope you've had better luck than we have.
Didn't learn much from Ms. Devine?
Just that she doesn't like me.
It's probably because you represent law enforcement.
How's that?
The FBI check turned up some interesting facts.
What'd you find, Debbie?
Sybil Devine used to be known as Disappearing Wanda.
Disappearing Wanda?
Uh-huh. She was the magician's assistant, and the big trick was putting her in a gigantic pumpkin.
He put her in a pumpkin shell?
And there he kept her. Very well.
Nope. That was the trick. He carved a jack-o'-lantern with giant swords that penetrated the pumpkin.
Wow.
When he took the lid off, Wanda had disappeared.
Sounds exciting. Where'd he do this?
With the Bungling Brothers Circus, the near greatest show on Earth.
The FBI had a record of that?
Yes, because of the night they pulled their greatest disappearing trick ever.
Oh?
Wanda, the magician, and the circus's receipts all disappeared.
They robbed the circus?
Uh-huh. They got about $50,000. They were caught a week later, and both of them spent time in prison.
Very interesting.
She was also brought to trial on charges of fraud and extortion 7 times over the past few years, but never convicted. The last record anyone has of her was 3 years ago.
So, she picked a new name and got a new scam.
That's about the size of it.
Let's go back out there and ask her about this.
Why? We haven't got anything on her. She served time for the robbery and wasn't convicted of anything else.
Kate's right.
Yeah, but it would make me feel better.
Mathnet Monday. Uh-huh. We'll be right there, Steve. Steve wants us to meet with Fred C. Dobbs.
Where?
On the roof of City Hall. You the maintenance chief for the city, Mr. Dobbs?
That's right, Ms. Mundy. I've been with the city, man and boy, for near a quarter of a century.
Seems like after 25 years, they'd give you an office.
Well, I asked you to come up here on the roof because I thought that you might be interested in this.
Nope.
Should we be interested, Mr. Dobbs?
Well, I found this up here when I searched the building with your people. It's plugged into a timer. I know what it is, but I don't know how it got here.
Uh-huh. What is it?
It's called a vibration exciter, and it's designed to put stress on a building.
Why?
To check their earthquake worthiness. I know about these contraptions. You see, when it's in operation, it spins just the right speed, and it shakes the building, much like an earthquake would.
And it was just here?
Yep. And it wasn't here Monday when I came up to check the air conditioning. Someone got it here between then and now.
You must have pretty tight security, don't you?
You bet. Gotta get up pretty early in the morning to put one over on Fred C. Dobbs.
Maybe that's just what they did.
Ma'am?
Moved in here under the cover of darkness.
But how?
Perhaps as if by magic.
So that's the story, Debbie.
She must have had the shaker on a timing device, and that's how she predicted the earthquake.
I've got an idea. I'm going to ask her to make one more prediction.
What prediction?
I'm going to ask her to tell us the outcome of a game no one can possibly predict.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Wednesday, 9:43 a.m., and since the inevitability of the big quake seemed inevitable, real estate prices had plummeted in the greater and near greater Los Angeles area. At the moment, you could pick up a one-bedroom split level in Pacoima for only $450,000. After the quake, real estate experts suggested that same home might be picked up in Pacoima, Reseda, and Sepulveda for even less. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. My partner is George Frankley. The assistant chief is Rosa Morales. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. Precious time was ticking off the clock of life as we continued to try and prove Sybil Devine cannot predict with accuracy when an earthquake is going to hit Los Angeles. But if we couldn't convince Mayor Lombard Quayle that Sybil was a phony, he was about to spend $10 million of the taxpayers' hard-collected money on her next prediction. We decided to look at earlier scenes to see if we missed something. When working on a problem, it is always a good idea to review your work to make sure you haven't made a mistake. Debbie told George and I a little more about Sybil Devine. She said she'd also been known as...
Disappearing Wanda?
Uh-huh. She was the magician's assistant, and the big trick was putting her in a gigantic pumpkin.
Debbie explained they did a disappearing act with the Bungling Brothers Circus until one night they disappeared with the Bungling Brothers' money. She did time in prison for that caper, and she'd been arrested a number of times after that for various crimes, but never convicted. We also learned what made the building shake during the ersatz earthquake. It was caused by a giant 1,500-pound machine called a vibration exciter, a contraption that tests the stability of buildings. It had been hooked up to a timer and set to begin when Sybil predicted the quake. Mathematics had led us by the hand to the conclusion that Sybil Devine had to be a fraud and was about to steal $10 million. Mathematics led us there, but we still had to prove our case.
I've got an idea. I'm going to ask her to make one more prediction.
What prediction?
I'm going to ask her to tell us the outcome of a game no one can possibly predict.
A football game? But I predicted football games before.
Well, then it won't be any trouble for you.
Of course not. It's a piece of cake. I'll tell you what. I'll predict your football game. I'll keep the money with me. And I'll also predict the big quake. If the football score is correct, then I'll just...
No, that's unacceptable. The money will stay here under constant guard. If you are correct, you'll return and collect the money in this valise.
There's $10 million in there?
Well, $50 in cash, the rest in traveler's check. Not a good idea to carry more than $50 in cash.
How do I know it'll be safe?
Guard will be stood constantly by this man.
Who is?
Maurice Lacrece of the Valise Police.
And if I refuse?
No deal.
Very well. Which is the game that you wish predicted?
It's a game that's just about to begin.
And the teams are?
The Pomona State Osteopaths against Cal State Bullocks.
Pomona State, Cal State Bullocks.
Are you getting a vision?
I must have absolute silence. Yes. Yes, I have it.
All right, if you will write it down, we will place your prediction in my safe.
I have it.
I'll just take your prediction and put it in another envelope, Miss Devine.
Whatever pleases you, Mr. Franklin.
This will have to do for the nonce. Mayor?
Until 6 o'clock this evening.
Until then, Miss Devine.
Until then, Mr. Franklin.
George, we've known each other a long time, haven't we?
You sure have. And if I may say so, I have never enjoyed myself more.
But George, you've got something going and you're not telling.
Kate, you know how you're always putting me down for being so interested in sports?
I'm not putting you down, George. It's just that
I know. But you know how I always say that you should be more interested in sports?
Well, George.
Time for the football score.
Hi there, sports fans. Dick and Vern here with your football scoreboard.
Many surprises on the old gridiron today, Vern?
Not many surprises on the old gridiron today, Dick. In the East, Syracuse was a big winner over Alfred, 31-30. Penn State lost to State Penn 10 years to 7 years. And Rutgers lost to Rutgers in an inter-squad game. Any surprises in the Big Ten, Dick?
No, Vern, things went pretty much as expected. The Michigan Wolverines nipped the Spartans of Michigan State 127-3. State's field goal coming at the end of the game with no time left on the clock. I believe you predicted that, didn't you, Vern?
That there would be no time left on the clock at the end of the game. I sure did, Dick. Let's look to the West Coast.
USC lost to Fullerton State in a mild surprise.
And UCLA tied UNLV 4 letters to 4 letters. Dick?
What?
Any other scores between these battling behemoths, Dick?
Yes, Vern, in a real shocker, the Fighting Retailers of Cal State Bullocks beat the Bone Bruisers of Pomona State Osteopath 24-21.
So that's our score.
We've got her, Kate. Let's roll. Like we're mighty late.
It's all right. These things never start on time.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have asked Miss Sybil Devine for one final prediction before we pay her $10 million for her earthquake prediction.
And I have so done.
I shall retrieve her prediction from my safe. It's okay, Maurice. It's okay. It's me, Mayor Quayle.
I will read my prediction.
As you know, the final score was Cal State Bullocks 24, Pomona State Osteopaths 21. What was your prediction, Miss Devine?
I was absolutely correct. 21-24.
That is your prediction. There's no question about it.
I have my second prediction sealed in this envelope. You may open it 1 hour after I leave. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll take my money.
Not so fast, Miss Devine.
Now what, Flatfoot? I've done everything you asked. Now get out of my face.
Not quite, Miss Devine. You predicted the outcome of a football game?
Yes, exactly as it happened.
That's just it. It didn't happen. There are no such schools as Cal State Bullocks and Pomona State Osteopaths.
What?
Not yet, anyway.
But I heard the score of the game on television.
I asked my brethren in the sports community to broadcast the phony score.
You heard it, and that's where you got your predictions.
That's not fair.
Oh, wait a minute. That explains the phony score, but how did she get it in the envelope?
Miss Devine spent years as an assistant to a magician, didn't you? Or should I call you Disappearing Wanda?
You are beneath toe jam. I'm sure your magician friend taught you plenty about sleight of hand, tricks, deception.
You made those other predictions after the event happened, didn't you?
Well, of course. How do you expect anyone to predict things before they happen?
You would keep that fact on the second card.
Put it in an identical envelope.
And when the first one was revealed, you simply switched them, right?
And you'd put the first envelope up your sleeve or in your glove or someplace.
All right. You got me. You're pretty clever. A mathematician.
And we have a prediction for you, Miss Devine, or should we say...
AKA Disappearing Wanda? Read it.
We predict you will go to jail for 10 to 12 years for fraud and attempted extortion.
Sam?
You have the right to remain silent. Give up the right to remain silent.
Well, Bart, let's chalk up another victory for Mathnet.
I don't have any chalk, but I know what you mean. Here, these are for you. What are they?
Dad called. He needs you to go to New York. These are the airline tickets.
New York?
Uh-huh. NYPD's got a problem. They need your help.
You better hurry if you're going to make your flight.
We're going to New York.
Put your arm down, George. It's gonna be coming.
Make us proud. Let's roll.
Boy, Kate, New York City. This is exciting.
Uh-huh. Ever been there? New York City, I mean?
Oh, sure.
I haven't. What's it like?
It's my kind of town, New York is.
That's Chicago, George.
Oh, I thought Chicago was a toddling town.
I don't think you've been in New York.
Well, maybe not in it, but I flew over it once.
I see.
Well, I couldn't. It was cloudy. But I do know the Bronx is up and the Battery's down. And people riding a hole in the ground.
Uh-huh. It's a wonderful town.
You know, Kate, I was just wondering, what do you suppose ever happened to Sybil Devine?
From the flight deck again, this is the Captain John Tailspin Tierney. Sybil Devine was tried in a criminal court in Los Angeles in and for the state of California. She was found guilty of a 401.13 fraud and a 517.3 attempted extortion and tucked snugly away from society for a minimum of 10 years and a maximum of 12 years. Miss Devine predicted she would be out sooner than that. She was wrong again.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was 6:43 a.m. and the city of the angels was snuggling under a blanket of smog, about to open its teary eyes to another brand new week. But I didn't care because it was 9:43 a.m. where I was. New York City.
shake.